Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unlocking the Cage. This is our Nicolas Cage podcast where we rank and watch every single one of Nicolas Cage's now 106 movies. I am your host, Meg. My
And
other host is...
I'm Chris Madden. Hello, how you doing?
Hi. Hello. Like we haven't been talking all day, Chris.
There's no one else to talk to. Just us now. Is there even a world out there? Are we like
I think so. I
don't know.
We record this show live on Twitch every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you are listening on the podcast version and you prefer to see a visual representation of this show, our old episodes can be found on our YouTube channel. And just a warning that we will spoil today's movie, which is 8mm. I don't think you care about that, but in case you do, that just a heads up. We have a guest today. Speaking of other people in the world, please welcome improviser Michael Trainor.
Oh crap! I have to hit a button now.
He's here. Just wait for.
Hello.
Hello, Michael.
Hi.
Thank you for welcoming me into the cage and then unlocking it.
We are really gonna need your help with this movie. We're really gonna need your help to unlock the cage.
You gotta. So how does it work? Like, all right, so you welcome someone into the cage, but then you have to unlock the cage. It's kind of like a metaphor for really just like friendship, and like welcoming someone into your cage. But you know that's just
the
one
cage
step.
Is my rib cage because I'm welcoming you into my heart.
But then you still have to unlock your heart. So like someone can, you know. I don't know.
It's like a nesting doll of cages. Like I let you in physically, but you're not there emotionally yet. Not yet. Hopefully.
The cage is emotional vulnerability, which is, a challenge for us all.
The cages, they don't just keep people in, they keep people out.
And really that's what this movie's about.
There was a really great meme I saw where there was like a person is a comic strip, and this person is a maze. And this other person is solving the maze to get to their heart. And he's like, I got it. I figured it out. And then it gets to the heart, and it's like a much smaller, more intricate maze. I don't know. Just reminded me of that.
That seems accurate to life.
I would say that that's a representation of this movie, but it's not. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
There's no straightforward. Yeah.
This is a movie about snuff films. Not nearly anything like we were talking about.
So let's check in. Our goal, as you guys know, is to watch every single one of Nicolas Cage's 106 movies. If you've been following along, we have added an additional movie to that list because neither Chris or I had seen this movie before. I'm at 20 movies. Chris is at 31 movies. Michael, give us a sense of where you are in the Nicolas Cage fandom, expertise.
I am very late to the game to Nick Cage. I think I was a very literal child where it didn't occur to me that a big budget popular movie could be enjoyed, ironically. So all of his movies have just been like real duds to me. I didn't understand why people saw them. But about like 10 years ago, maybe we started having, on a separate podcast, after we would do an episode taping, we would do a 10-year-old dinner, which was like, you get mac and cheese and chicken nuggets and then watch a crappy Nick Cage movie. So I've probably seen like 10, which is like 8 more than I thought I had going.
Wait, so you had another podcast, and then after every recording of that podcast, you would watch a Nick Cage movie?
Yeah, I don't think we did for because we definitely had more than 10 episodes of that podcast, but it just became like, it was a Sunday recording situation, much like this, but it was a little bit earlier in the day, and we're like, oh, we should eat something. What can we get? Oh, I bet we can get like, chicken and stars. I don't know what we got. I don't remember the meals. I couldn't think of one 10-year-old dinner meal on the spot.
Did you, was this for who the hell is Harry Potter? Who the heck is Harry Potter?
No, this was like, I think the name was Simulated Itch Relief. It might still be online.
Simulated Itch Relief.
The guy whose podcast it was, he was like a communications major in college, and he took some like advertising class, and they mentioned like in an infomercial, if you're selling like a lotion or whatever, you need to have like a simulated itch release face to sell the product. And he liked the term so much that it became the episode name or the podcast name. So, but yeah, I've definitely seen 10 Nicolas Cage movies all the way through, and then maybe 5 that I tried to watch.
Do you have any that you remember enjoying, or any that you remember disliking?
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is like the best one.
Oh, that's quality, yeah,
for sure. We watched Season of the Witch, which is which is bad but enjoyably bad.
Oh, I can't
he
wait
like
for
gives
that
up
one.
his just enjoy his accent work for the first 10 minutes, then he drops it immediately.
Season of the Witch is actually one of our episodes coming up with your friend D. Heller.
Whoa!
Yeah.
We might have watched it together. He was around during those days.
But he has watched every single one of Nicolas Cage's movies, and so I gave him the total list of all the movies that no one had picked yet, and that was the movie that he chose. So I'm really curious to find out why someone who has the knowledge of every single other one was like, this is the one.
Yeah, that is an interesting choice. The only other one I can remember watching was, and I didn't put it on my list, so I must have seen it, and it's the 11th one. The one where it's based off of like, it's like he gets raptured. I don't remember the name of it.
Is it Knowing? It's not Knowing.
Is
right?
that?
Oh no, Left Behind.
Left Behind? That sounds right.
Well, the world gets raptured and he gets left behind or something, or I can't remember.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. That's fun. That'd be a fun one, but I didn't choose a fun one. I wanted 8mm.
Yeah. So tell me about why you chose this movie, because I was surprised anyone chose it. So.
Yeah, I mean, your show booker contacted me and said, "Hey, do you want to do the Christmas episode?" And I said, "No." Team behind Chris and Meg, this elaborate team. I want
our
to do
big team.
Are you our assistant? Yes.
I think 8mm might have been the first Nick Cage movie I ever saw. A friend suggested it in high school. He said, "This is a crazy movie." And I don't know. I still don't know what to think of the movie. It's been 20 years. I haven't seen it since that original time where it had a crazy impact on my brain. Every time I think of Nick Cage, I'm like, that baby face man in the gimp mask, like what is happening?
He has a baby head. He does.
It's for me, one of the more upsetting things in the movie is seeing that baby face man at the end.
I think it was less jarring for me because we were watching it and I hit pause and then it just came up on X-Ray who the guy in the mask was. On the Amazon just tells you the actors.
Right.
He was in True Blood and I'm like, oh, it's the guy from True Blood is in this movie.
Right at the beginning of the movie too, it was like, oh, I guess that's gonna be the guy under the mask.
when he sees the snuff film, if you pause it tells you who the guy in the mask is.
Oh no, that's a whole experience that you missed out on. Well, I mean, that's fair. That's
the
fair.
reveal. I missed the reveal.
I want to tell you a little fun fact about the guy in the mask. Oh, I can't find it anymore. All right. I'm pretty sure he's the guy. Did you see Face Off, Mike? Is that one of the ones you've seen?
I think I've tried to watch Face Off.
Oh, that one's so good. Well, then maybe this is for Chris. Chris, when he escapes the prison, he has the help of this really big dude.
Oh yeah, that's totally him. Yeah, it's the guy from True Blood again. Yeah. Who gets zotched. This guy gets electro-zotched in the brain. A very similar character he's played in both those. And then he's
just
a big dude. I think he gets big dude parts.
He was in The Wire. I remember seeing him in The Wire and being like, "Oh my God, it's Babyface Man." And taking me out like, for a bit.
He's the bad guy. Yeah, this movie was like for me watching it, I'm sure that if I watched this back in the day, like it would be like, oh my God, this is hard to watch. This is a mixture of like horror and like, holy shit, every taboo in the book is in this movie. And then like now watching it, some parts of this, I'm like, a lot of 12-year-olds are looking at this online. Like the stuff they're selling in the black market underground, that stuff is like accessed on your first Google result. If you just type
Max Hollywood called it, man. Max Hollywood knew that all this is going online. He's a pioneer.
He was right, man. He was he could have gotten in the ground floor on this, but he didn't.
No. R.I.P. Max Hollywood.
R.I.P. Spoiler alert. R.I.P. Max Hollywood.
Max Hollywood is such a great character name too. I love that.
This was I liked Joaquin Phoenix in this movie. Like this is the only movie I actually liked him in.
He's fine. Yeah.
He's a ray of light in this like miserable slog. Like 45 minutes in, you finally get Joaquin Phoenix, and it's great the 10 minutes he's on screen.
Oh
he's
man.
I feel like one of the only characters that seems to be enjoying themselves. Like he seems to be like, oh, this is fun. I'm just gonna hang out with this dude, and he's gonna pay me to go on little porn adventures. Like, it's
It sounds so quaint the way you describe it. A little porn adventure.
oops, and then I got my throat slit at the end.
So
But
just to break down the plot.
wait, hold on. Before we do that, Chris,
what do you got?
We are absolutely going to do that. I want to give you guys a little background on this movie. You probably already know it, but just in case, this movie was made in 1999 by Joel Schumacher. This was Joel Schumacher's follow-up to Batman and Robin, which was a bad bomb movie, and he decided to make this afterwards. Also, Batman and Robin kind of a little bit like S&M-y too. Like
Bane.
some of the costumes, so
Bane.
Interesting.
Nipples on the costumes.
Yeah, that was Batman and Robin. That wasn't the other Batman one, right?
No, a lot of butts and leather though.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would argue that Batman Returns, which was not directed by Joel Schumacher, was much more kinky than the other ones because you had Catwoman.
I mean, yeah, that was a huge,
But
that's all leather, pretty much.
all leather.
But there are elements that kind of like seem to match up.
We will dig into that for sure. So, all right. So this movie was actually a financial success. Surprisingly, it cost $40 million to make and made $96 million. It's terrible reviews. I think it's like about 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. No surprises there. And I bet you guys didn't know this. There was a straight to video sequel called 8mm 2.
I only found out when trying to search for this movie, and 8mm 2 popped up, but I said, "There's no way in hell I'm watching that."
What?
It is the sequel, but I think there's no like through line aside from the name, and that it involves like maybe snuff tapes, maybe porn. I don't remember which.
Did any actors make it from this movie to that one?
No.
Okay.
I mean, no one's alive from the first movie, except for Nick Cage and Catherine Keener. Like, no one's around, right?
Oh,
And
what
that
a shitty
baby-
use of
baby
Catherine
Cindy.
Keener. Yeah.
All right, Chris, you were gonna give us an overview.
Okay, yes. So, Nick Cage is a private investigator to the rich, known for his discretion and his ambition. He is recruited by a elderly woman whose husband has died, and she discovered in his safe behind a picture a video of a woman, a pornographic video of a woman being murdered. This woman hires Nicolas Cage to authenticate this video, and it's an 8mm tape. Sorry, key. Should have known that. And craziness ensues as he goes down the rabbit hole looking to find the girl from the tape and whatnot. There you go.
Yeah.
That's my
wild.
summary of this fucking movie. Also, they have a lot of great actors that they're just terrible. Like, I was like, oh, Catherine Keener's going to be in this movie. You know, Catherine Keener was like a young smoke show, in my opinion.
Smoke show.
Smoke show.
Smoke show, bring in the smoke show.
And they just totally underused her in this movie. Like, she didn't really have much depth to her character, and she was like, I'm just the lady stays at home with the baby. I'm happy all the time. Anyway, I wasn't.
Yeah, she's just there so that Nick Cage can lie to someone. I found like watching it the second time 20 years later, there's like a through line of like truth and lies. Like, there's so many people looking for like the truth about this tape, the truth about what happened to my daughter, the truth this. And meanwhile, Nick Cage is like holding everything back for her protection, holds back the fact that he smokes, and really she's just there for exposition and for him to lie to her. It's a real bummer.
I was just looking. So this is before Being John Malkovich, I think, because Being John Malkovich was also released released in December 99, and this was like January 99 or February 99.
Oh,
so
wow.
this is like they have Catherine Keener and they don't know what they've got with her because like she's about to get really big is my guess.
You know what? I was just pointing this out to Meg earlier today because I was cutting a clip out of the trailer for this, and the writer of Seven wrote this movie, and it's called 8mm.
I knew that he wrote 7, but I didn't pick up on
like what is this guy doing? Did he write the film The Nine? The animated film The Nine. Do you remember this movie?
Oh yeah.
It could have
I'm
been
aware
him.
of it. I've not seen it, but I'm aware of it. I hope so. I really hope so. I hope he just write numbers movies.
You could have a really great movie marathon of just movies with numbers for titles, and just
I bet there'd be a bunch of Fast and Furious movies in there.
Fast 8. Well, you could. I mean, I think that's too liberal of a. I'm talking the title is a number, like the movie, the number 23.
Oh, that movie, Jesus.
I'm sure there's a movie called One.
Oh, there has to be.
Like a Beatles.
Once.
Once.
There's a movie called Once.
Man, we were doing everything in our power to avoid talking about this film.
I'll talk about it.
All right, let's. All right, we.
Oh, I love Brendan's comment. These are the first two parts of the Why Is 6 Afraid of 7 trilogy.
All right. Do we have any? What clips do we have that can get us started? There's the one where he watches the snuff film, which I think I asked Chris to edit out the snuff film just so we can see.
Yes.
Chris, Brendan, same people's names. Nicolas Cage's reaction.
Yeah, Tom something I think is his name.
Tom
Wells.
Tom Wells. He's doing well.
This is just Nick Cage reacting to snuff videos over and over again, and I loved this so much that I have incorporated it into the show, and now whenever I want, I can hit a button and get Nick Cage to react to something. So we got all three of those on three different things. So if there's something really stupid in the movie, we could just bust out Nick Cage reaction. I think that
this movie was worth it then.
Yeah,
if only for that.
If that was the thing that came out of this. We also have what else? I guess there's not really stuff that happens in the beginning so much that I have, but this is him watching the movie.
So the first third of the movie is a pretty basic missing persons movie, would you guys say? It's just he looks at the snuff film, and then aside from that, it's basically he's just trying to find this girl. So there's a lot of tedious scenes about him trying to find this girl.
Yeah. It's kind of like watching it the second time, it feels like, I don't know, when you were watching it, did you have any hope at all that the snuff film was not real as you were watching it in the beginning? Or were you like, we'll see about this snuff film, this might not be? I
definitely was thinking, there's a chance it's not real. I don't know, maybe that's naive, but I don't know.
I was thinking it was real because otherwise I think it's less, I don't know, with the kind of movie it is, I feel like it needs to be real.
This is a really dark thought, but when I think snuff film, I think more porn, because that was just a film of someone getting murdered. I mean, come on,
right?
Right. Gotta mix. Anyway, this is a really dark thought.
I mean, I guess that probably was my assumption as well. They probably, maybe there's an awful director's edit that shows even worse lead up, but I think they probably, for the sake of the movie, wanted to skip over the porn part and get right to the part that he's investigating. But yeah, I think because again, watching this the second time, I feel like I kind of knew even the first time that it was going to be a real snuff film. So it's more like, in a sense what the ending's going to be. So it's just this tragedy of watching someone go through the motions where this isn't going to end up well. And every step he takes, it's dude, just give up. Just say it's real. And just walk away from this.
It's you're doing this for an old woman too. That's doesn't seem to be all there. And you know what I mean? She's a sweet lady, but at the end of the day, she'll be okay.
Wouldn't it be better to just say yeah, I checked it out. It's not real. Live the rest of your life happy, knowing that it's not real.
Yeah. Oh man, that was sad as hell ending.
I'm so sorry.
Oh,
but you know what? You have to watch this movie. It's on the list. So I'm happy to take this journey with you.
You know
there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of parallels too to The Wicker Man in terms of this investigation thing. It's just he gets so obsessed with his investigation. You're just dude, just move on. It's not the impetus behind his obsession for the investigation is really forced in the movie for me.
Yeah, at a certain point, he knew it was real, kind of. If he had to guess, he'd be like, "Oh, this fucker thing's real," and that's really all the lady asked for. She didn't ask him to bring anyone to justice or anything like that. He just kind of kept going.
Well, then he gets caught up with the mom, and I think he wants to find out what happened because he's I now have this relationship with this mom, and I'd like to bring her some closure. I guess it's not that far-fetched, but I don't know. It's just so boring, guys. It's just such a boring
It's real boring.
beginning of the movie.
You know what's weird about this? This movie is extremely weird in that when he packs that gun to go on the trip, so he's gonna go on this trip to see what's going on. He packs a gun in the safest way I've ever seen in any movie ever. He packs a gun cleaning kit. He has a safe in his trunk. He like checks the barrel to see if there's a bullet in it. He's like extremely like normal in the movies. People like take a gun, just jam it down the front of their pants and get in their car. And this guy's like, following all the rules.
Maybe that's intentional to show the contrast between the man he is at the beginning and the man he is at the end.
At the end with just a trunk full of porn and who knows how many guns.
And he has a porn bonfire with a person in it.
We have a request from the audience for a clip that unfortunately we don't have for the insane phone conversations between Catherine Keener and Nicolas Cage.
I wish I had cut all those together.
I was watching it with because unfortunately my wife Shion was, we're stuck in this place together, and she was like, "Oh, you have to watch this movie for the show?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're not going to watch it before bed. We're going to wait like the day before midday." And her comment all the time when they would do the phone call is, "Why is Nick Cage always referring to the baby as sweet?" It was just like a weird like how's the baby? "Oh, she's sweet." Like, what do you mean sweet? Like it's a baby. It's like a 3-month-old. What sweet things is a baby doing at 3 months? But yeah, that was every phone call, I believe.
Is the baby's name Cinderella, or is that just their nickname for a baby named Cindy?
Oh, I don't know. What is? I mean, Cindy's short for Cynthia, right? But it could be Cinderella. I don't know.
I just found out something. Catherine Keener and Nick Cage are together again in The Croods, and in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Catherine Keener was in that?
She's Doc Ock.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's cool. All right, so we have another clip from this era of the movie before it gets real porny and before Joaquin Phoenix shows up, where he goes to see Norman Reedus, who has a small part in this, in the jail. Honestly, like a lot of these clips are really boring. It's just it was hard to find clips.
Hollywood to be a big fucking movie star.
It's Norman Reedus.
And so did I.
Look how young he is.
Check me out now.
He's still got that thing on his face, but it's cool.
You know what, man? Why don't you pass me one of them smokes?
Pass me one of them smokes. And for no reason, total douche to Norman Reedus.
I don't smoke.
So this is what you meant by truths and lies and people telling their own story and what they mean,
Yeah, I have a theory about this. I feel like that and the way that he acts around Max Hollywood is his true self. He's way polite to everyone else that he meets in this movie, including his wife. He's like, just have to say what I have to say. I'm going to get out of this cigarette lie as like cleanly as I can. But the second that guy pushes his buttons, he puts out the cigarette to be a dick. And the second that he's putting Max Hollywood, onto the job, he's like, let's pretend that this place actually gives you $400 a week. I'll give you $500, and just razzing him and giving him shit. Like, I think that's who this guy is, but he can't be his true self because he's. So I don't know if it's the job or just who he is. I don't know.
All right. So I think you're really onto something here, because what this is sounding like to me, Mike, is he needs the story. It's like when he calls the woman and he's like, I need your permission to kill these guys. Like, he needs the truth, the story to line up such that it allows him to be the asshole he wants to really be.
I think so. And in saying this, I am no way saying this is a good movie, but I do think this is a way that I get through the movie feeling like I've accomplished something.
Man.
So the darkness was in him all along.
I think so.
Once again,
I think so.
Paul Hollywood was right. That was what he said about the devil and all that stuff. Max
Paul
Hollywood. Remember
Paul
that
Hollywood.
scene where Nick Cage is making those cakes and Max Hollywood comes out and handshakes him?
Oh, we never mentioned this in the show, or maybe we did. We had a Great British Bake Off Nick Cage crossover at some point. I don't think we were able to get a clip of it.
Yeah, because it was.
It was the episode where they made cages for their cakes in the most recent season.
Oh, that's I've only seen the most recent season,
And
so
they did
I'm
a
glad it's
whole
from
Nick
that.
Cage bit
That's
about Nick
right.
Cage and cakes, I think.
Now that's a fucking show. So he's doing this swear word show. You get him on Great British Bake Off or Nailed It. Oh man, now we're talking.
Yeah, where he's
I'd
like
watch
less
it.
where he's like being himself and less like in a host role.
Oh my god, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, but by the time we get to our next episode, Chris, the Nick Cage history of swear words on Netflix will have been released. So
There's gonna
maybe
have
we
to
can
be a bonus episode for that one.
little bonus episode on that. All right. So we've got the whole boring scene. Then we get Max, the whole boring thing where he's sort of just investigating. Then we get Max Hollywood shows up. That at
So
least is
fun.
interesting.
So much happens. I remember pausing the movie and be like, what? Like, it's so much happens up to that point. It's like incredibly boring. You're like, this movie must be 3/4 over. And it's like barely even halfway over when Max Hollywood shows up. You're
Right.
like,
It
oh
really
my God.
slow played in the beginning, but then once Max Hollywood gets there, it starts kicking up.
Yeah.
He's hawking vibrating vaginas. He's reading Capote. He's not gay, which he just tells him. I guess it was in the 90s. You just had to say that if you had like, I don't know, if some guy approached you in a movie, you just had to say that you weren't gay.
He's like a
to
terrible
clarify.
detective because he literally goes, he's like, well, I need to find some porn. I'm going to go in the porn store. It's like, oh, well, I read these things. I guess I'll go talk to the guy at the porn store to see if he knows it. He goes to one porn store and he gets incredibly lucky that Joaquin Phoenix somehow has like a network to every friggin' underbelly person there is. Could have just been an 18-year-old like moron working behind the desk.
Yeah, I was friends of friends with someone who worked at a porn store, and I can tell you if this guy approached him, all he would get would be his like doom metal like eight track demo that he was working on. He wouldn't get this underground anything. He would just get bad music.
So we get a bunch of scenes of him going to like different underground porn shops, which are all like in warehouses with like random fabric hanging down.
He goes to the Diagon Alley of porn. He goes what's the other one? The bad one.
This feels like a Harry Potter reference.
Yeah. Damn it. It's not Diagon. It's off of Diagon Alley. One of you guys in the chat has to know this.
Nocturne Alley.
Yeah, Nocturne Alley. He goes to the Nocturne Alley.
Hogwarts.
He goes to the Hogwarts of porn. And yeah.
But so these scenes are him literally just walking around asking people for stuff films. Like he's just like walking to random people and be like, "Do you have anything harder?"
Yeah, in the most like suspicious way possible. I have a large sum of money I want to spend. Like no one talks like that, but he's walking around like a cop and surprised that no one's giving him the information or the goods that he's looking for.
Oh, we got to talk for a second too about how terribly acted this entire film was. Like
how
we flat every line was. Like everything was just like, oh my God.
Like usually I'm kind of on the fence about his performances. Like I'm like, all right, this is kind of doing something for this movie. This was just bad acting. This was no effort.
He didn't sell anything.
No.
It's very weird. Yeah. And everyone's performance is like, and I think it might be the script and maybe the director or whatever, because everyone's like a little bit off. Cage is really off, so I'm not counting him. But like everyone's just like, all the lines that they have to say is just like a little bit like, people don't talk like this, and it's not like stylized enough for me to like enjoy it.
Do you think he was doing some great acting, and then Joel Schumacher the whole time was like, no, say it more like you are like just you have no brain in your head and you're just a stone person? Like
I don't think the City of Angels like look to him at times, like he's just like, yeah, like wide-eyed like that.
Yeah. But not the fun Nick Cage wide-eyed like
no. Sorry, Meg, I interrupted you.
Oh, no. I'm actually City of Angels is one of our other ones coming up, so I'm excited about that. Which
is she on point out something? She's right. It's like, do you remember like there really was only one pure Cage moment, and it was towards the end when he like kind of lost his shit briefly at the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
Like that was the only moment I was like, oh, he's, still Nick Cage, but.
And that's from the trailer, I think. I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
It is a very straight man Cage movie for most of the movie. We do have a lot of crazy side characters. What's it called? Brendan and Shion in the chat are talking about Peter's Stormare.
My
saying his name right.
favorite. My favorite actor.
Oh, we have a clip. We have a clip of him.
Hell yeah.
We have a clip of him. Why don't we show that clip, Chris? Why not?
Let's go to the clip. Hold on, I have to.
Bow, 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 bow.
Norman Reedus has to go.
Bye, Norman.
Hi.
Oh,
5,000 now. 5,000 upon delivery. 2 women, 1 white, 1 black. Hard bondage, of course.
Of course.
Other than that, trusting your own artistic interpretation, I only have 2 stipulations.
Okay, challenge me.
I want to watch you work.
You don't want a franchise, do you? Steal the recipe for my secret hot sauce.
there's no way the director said when you say hot sauce, then open your mouth and keep it open for a weird beat. That's just it's so good. Even if he's in a bad movie, even if he's hamming it up, he just makes all these fun choices that Nick Cage should be making, but he's like, fuck it.
Often
I'm gonna do
does,
this.
but is not. I don't love these like Nicolas Cage straight man movies. I think that they are.
Yeah.
Maybe they're necessary. Necessary part of his career evolution, but
The sound. Did anyone else notice that the sound in this movie, and you kind of had an example right there, was real bad? Like, did you hear the cars going by? I don't think that was intentional. I think they just picked up cars going by outside when they were recording that audio.
I'd buy that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they spent their $40 million on.
Yeah, who
Probably the
knows?
cast.
I mean, the cast is crazy. Like the Gandolfini. This is probably before The Sopranos, but still.
This is a month before The Sopranos came out.
wow.
Gandolfini had some heat. Nick Cage, I like this. Nick Cage, Keanu Reevesing it is not something we need. That's from Shion.
She had a lot of feelings while watching this, and she had a
I
lot of
can't
feelings when it
believe
was over.
Oh my god.
I'm glad she sat through it, but I feel bad that she sat through it.
I warned her so often, but no one's going to believe the warnings of this. Even the people that listen to this and haven't seen the movie,
They're like,
some
oh,
of them
this
are
sounds fun. Yeah.
it's
I'll give
not
it a
it's not
shot.
fun.
Not fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have I'm just so uninspired by this fucking plot.
Before we
but-
move on, do you remember
Wait,
when he first goes to California? There's an extended 5-minute montage with Middle
Yes.
Eastern music of him in on Hollywood Boulevard. It's like, what is this even?
Yeah. Smoky bars and everything. I
Yeah.
really knew I was in LA. It was
Yeah.
great.
Sort of the yellow tinted film,
Like how they would show Mexico in a movie, with that yellow tint.
Right.
They showed LA that way as if he was in another country or something.
Yeah, it's weird. Like this whole the seedy underbelly. I guess if the guy that wrote this wrote 7, then I think a 7 is taking place in a city that doesn't exist. That's so crime ridden and so awful, but you're buying into it. For this, it's just, I don't know. I don't want it to be worse of a location because my soul wouldn't be able to take it, but it still wasn't over the top enough for me to feel again that it was an act. It just felt I don't know, muddled the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he's wandering around 2 stores down from Second City Hollywood.
That is absolutely
3
true.
stores down from IO West. I would imagine that the porn was being sold out of the basement of IO West, probably, but still, it's not a real terrible place. There's the Hollywood Wax Museum. Friggin' Plated Hollywood's right there. And
this was 20 years ago, but
yeah, I guess it could have been a lot worse back then.
Improv really cleaned up that town.
Yeah, Improv cleaned up Hollywood Boulevard.
all right. So we've got let's see. So we're still at the area where he's kind of looking for the snuff film. He's meeting a lot of random underground characters.
Give me some snuff.
We're seeing a lot of explicit porn in the background.
And
a lot more than I remembered.
Oh yeah.
But like
Not
I
much-
said, though, this is stuff that if you type porn into Google, it's going to be the top 5 results. Or the stuff they're showing as if it's the darkest of the dark porn.
But this is a mainstream Hollywood movie. It's unusual to have that.
This
In
is
a
true.
movie.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
But I mean, nothing you would have seen outside of Game of Thrones these days.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. The real scary thing is how much we've been changed and perversed by the world 20 years later.
Yeah.
That's the real horror of the ignorance.
It's really fucked up.
There's it probably will not surprise you guys to know that this movie just barely got an R rating. They had a lot of cuts that they had to make.
I thought you meant the other way. I was like, how would this get a PG-13, Meg? Doesn't make any sense.
No. NC-17, but there was a rule. There's a rule, like they were only allowed to have 2 thrusts for each sex scene in the background.
The rules are so funny on these. Okay.
That's called the rule 2s. I remember that rule.
Bank of TV monitors in the background in one of the conversations between Max Hollywood and Nicolas Cage that they had to they had a bunch of TVs in the background that were showing hardcore pornography, and they had to just cut the scene out because there's too much porn in the background. I guess this was before you could just, I don't know, edit something in. And then a lot of the violence was cut back a little bit, like when Joaquin Phoenix gets his throat cut. That was a little bit more graphic in the original version, which in this version they thankfully cut away pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't even remember blood happening.
I was like, wait, did his throat just get cut? Because it looked like he just
dies.
Pinched his throat. Yeah, but like you couldn't really see it. Yeah, it wasn't like nowadays where you go, it's like
right.
The sprinkler
in Game
goes
of Thrones
off.
once again.
In Game of Thrones.
So let's move on to the next section of the plot, which I would say is the Gandolfini stuff.
Yes.
I love him. I was thrilled that he showed up, even though, he's basically just doing Tony Soprano, but Tony Soprano who does porn.
Porny Soprano porn. Porny Prano.
Thank you, Chris.
You wanna hit the clip of him and Nick Cage on the phone? He sounds dead like Tony Soprano in this. It's just like it's the same character.
I know all about it.
Yeah, you know all about what?
About that girl. 6 years ago. I know what you did to her.
Who is this?
You murdered her. You and your friends.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You killed her on film. And now you're fucked. You're all fucked.
Yeah, so he just calls him up to kind of shake the hornet's nest up, make something happen.
As much as the dialogue's a little off on this for me in general, like that part, really everything he was doing in this movie, like I buy him. Like the like hearing, like him actually reacting to stuff, and like the smile that he doesn't need to have on, but he's going to have it on so you can hear him smile on the phone and seem like he's lying and it playing off. I buy it. I think he did a better job than he should have in this movie.
Oh yeah,
Are you talking about James Gandolfini or Nick Cage?
James Gandolfini. We'll never talk about Nick Cage's acting in a positive way in this movie.
Yeah, no, I think I had no problem with him in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gandolfini did a good job.
I would say most of the side characters did well acting wise. Like there wasn't, nothing stood out to me as being like badly acted.
That stakeout was like, I think a little over the top and kind of like maybe what, like kind of not believe the movie. Like it kind of took me like way out of the movie because like basically he's like, all right, I know this guy works. I know he lied to me because he had a conversation. He kind of lied to him. So he's like, I'm going to go next door. I'm going to rent out a whole floor of this abandoned factory. And I'm just going to stake him out and wait for him to
tap
slip
his phone
up.
too, right?
And he taps his phone. Like, this feels like, I don't know. It just felt like at some point, man, like this old woman's going to be like, hey, dude, you just like spent $1 million on this. Like, you signed a lease on that factory.
You're supposed to understand that his budget is unlimited,
So. But the lawyer guy, I guess, didn't really feel the need to stop him at this point too, because the lawyer guy is signing the checks, right? Oh no, I guess he's only talking to the old woman. He's not talking to the lawyer.
Right. I imagine he's probably slightly aware of it. Like in the periphery, he's kind of hanging around. So he must be picking up some of this going on, but
yeah,
it's a good point that he had to. And also, how long is he? Because he tells his wife, Nick Cage tells his wife that he's going to be gone for 3 weeks. But then, like, with all the steps he has to do, it feels like he's gone for months.
Like at the end of the movie, he's like, man, what a crazy 3 weeks this was. You know?
Here's my adult child that's now ready for college. Thanks for the money, old lady.
Yeah, like he still has the same face wounds at the end of the movie, you know, that he got like, you know, in Hollywood. So it couldn't have been that long.
Yeah. But to your
Oh, it
point, it
just
feels
happened so
like it would
fast.
take a while to
Yeah.
like make all that happen.
It also feels like it'd take a while because it was just a slog to watch.
Also, I mean, like he just walked away from all this stuff and he sent a letter with basically all the details in the mail to this woman. But like the law never got involved. They found all these bodies everywhere and they're like,
Well, yeah, let's wrap up the plot. So we've got
Okay.
Gandolfini,
Let's wrap
who's
up
just
the-
another villain who's associated with oh god, what was his name? Something Velvet. Dino Velvet.
Dino Velvet.
Dino Velvet. Great name. And he goes to some like fancy Hollywood Hills house and pushes some guy in a pool, which was actually a funny scene.
And then he calls for help. I mean, he falls in the pool, and it doesn't sound like he's saying, "Hey, there's someone on the property." It sounds like, "I can't get out of this pool. There's no water in it."
He's like, fuck.
And then later on, that pool's filled. When Gandolfini is like
Oh.
running for it, it's like clean, filled. It's like they had a talking after that happened. Like, dude, you got to fill your pool.
Yeah.
Fell
fell
into
in the
it.
pool.
I couldn't get out.
Maybe they were like, you know, I fell in that pool and it gave me an idea. We should shoot some porn out in the pool. We got a whole pool here. And they're like, let's clean it up.
That's a whole scene they cut
Yeah.
for good reason.
Oh god, I didn't even look to see if there's any deleted scenes for this movie. I don't think I want to see them. I'm sure
We don't
they're
want
all just
I mean, if they are, oh God. Rough.
what. So I don't know. There's like a bunch of
He chases
this
him
is-
down. He finds out he gets to Dino in New York and he tries to set up. We saw that scene where he's like, hey, make a porn for me, Dino. But he's just always trying to get to this guy, the machine, who stars in the porn, who is the one that killed the girl, and he wants to find his identity. They realize he's playing him, and they confront him at a warehouse where they're supposed to shoot this fake porn. And they kill fucking Paul Hollywood. And
Jesus Christ.
and he's like, it was stodgy, and he fucking dies.
Nice sponge. Nice sponge. Well, when you say they, though, it's Dino, it's Gandolfini, and surprise, surprise,
lawyer
that
dude.
that lawyer dude
Lawyer dude
from
comes
Silence
up.
of the Lambs, right?
I think
shit.
so. I found I don't remember the actor's name, but when I was looking for clips of this movie, I found a fan YouTube that just does all of his clips from the movie. Like, so it's all of his scenes, and the YouTube is what is this guy's name? Hold on, I'm gonna look this up.
It's just
All the scenes from this movie.
Yeah, all of his scenes from this movie are edited together. Anthony Heald.
Oh God.
There can't be
That's-
that much.
that's
real. It's not
crazy.
that long, is it?
So it's just a supercut of only his scenes? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I have to bring this up on the screen. How long?
Oh,
is
okay.
it?
Yeah, here we go. It's the YouTube account is called Anthony Heald - favorite actor.
Favorite actor. Okay.
It's owned and operated by Anthony Heald.
I mean, he's not a bad actor. It's surprising that he's someone's favorite.
So this
guess.
isn't
This
just
person
8
has
millimeter.
6 subscribers, and everything has a Russian subtitle. And there's quite a bit of videos from Anthony Heald's movies that are just his scenes from like A Time to Kill, from Whispers in the Dark, from Silence of the Lamb, and Red Dragon. So this guy loves him. That's
You know
amazing.
what?
Oh,
I like Peter Stormare. He likes this dude. We all, you know what? It's fine. Everyone loves someone in this movie, so good for him.
man. So yeah, he gets the Nick Cage manages to get the jump after turning them on each other because he explains that the lawyer withheld $1 million. The old woman had explained that her husband had made checks for $1 million and the lawyer had taken most of the money. Dino Velvet shoots him with a fucking crossbow,
Badass.
and then Dino Velvet gets hit with a stray bullet in the jugular, goes down.
Not like this. It wasn't supposed to be like this.
Something more
it's so good.
cinematic. Yeah.
I love him so much.
And they kill Max Hollywood. Oh man!
Yeah.
And then Gandolfini chases. Nick Cage gets away. They stab. We're just giving this way too much information. Everybody
Yeah.
dies. You know, because this is a slog. So Gandolfini gets away. Nick Cage tracks him down. Oh, and he asks permission to murder him. Oh, we gotta play that clip. This is a clip of Nick Cage asking the girl's mother's permission to kill James Gandolfini.
Remember when I asked you if you'd want to know the truth, no matter what?
What?
Some men, they took her and they killed her and they buried her.
No,
I'm sorry.
no.
Sorry.
No.
I want to punish them for what they did.
What are you saying?
I can hurt them. Give me your permission to hurt them. Please. Tell me how much she meant to you.
It's
That's so
so
bad.
weird. So yeah, this is when the movie takes a turn where it becomes more like a John Wick scenario where he's gonna track down all the rest of the guys. There's only 2 left.
Yeah.
He lights Gandolfini on fire. He tracks down
At this
the
point,
machine.
the 8mm film has been destroyed. So it's not even like he can do anything about the crime through the legal channels. Like
Yeah.
it's done. It's too late.
And
He's
he's
got to
got
kill everyone.
and Gandolfini even says to him like, "You gotta shoot me with your own gun that you bought in your name." Like such a reasonable thing to say.
That was a pretty good James Gandolfini impression.
That was good. That's good.
But he says that to him, and I was like, man, they know, whoever wrote this knows a lot about like gun safety and like laws. I don't know, and like ballistics testing.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't see
And
that coming.
Gandolfini's just helping him out. He's like, I don't want you to get caught when you kill me. So
Yeah.
don't shoot me.
And he gets killed in the bonfire porn. Tracks down babyface man to his house. Lives with his mom, obviously. Stabs him a bunch of times. They fight in a graveyard, and he reveals he's got a baby face. He's like, look, I look like just like everybody else. I know how to explain it. I just love what I do. What? Kills him.
There's no weird backstory. I'm just like this. Isn't that the true horror? 8mm coming to a theater near you.
Well, what you said, actually, Mike, is like making me think, because he's the antithesis of Nick Cage, because he is who he is, and he doesn't need an excuse to be who he is, whereas Nick Cage needs he is never who he is. He lies about who he is all the time. He doesn't even use his real name for half the movie, and he can't be who he is unless he has an excuse.
Yeah, even at a point where I would think it doesn't like leading up to like, all these events, he's lying to Catherine Keener about what the case is, and that makes sense for the type of job this is. Fine, I buy it. But then there's a point where it's like, go to where we spent 4th of July. You would think like you would say, hey, things are bad right now. I'm not going to go into the details, but you're in danger. I'm in danger. So like, let's lay low. Instead, Catherine Keener is asking these valid questions about what the fuck is going on. Why am I here? Why are you hiding things from me? And I don't think at any point in the movie he says, okay, here's what's up. Even after the fact, when he winds up just raking those leaves, grinning like an idiot in his yard,
That's bizarre.
and like he reads a postcard, like there's still no evidence that he's told Catherine Keener. They stare in a glance like, oh, you understand what's going on, even though you don't know this piece of mail I just opened, Catherine Keener. But all I want for him is to be honest with Catherine Keener. That's why I came on the show. I just wanted.
I feel like the real ending of this movie is much darker than what they show. Like he's raking leaves and he has this vacant expression when he's like slowly raking leaves as if he is like completely like just, what's the word? Catatonic. He's just kind of like, and then someone, gets that letter. He's like smiling like a crazy person. I thought he was just going to go in and murder his family or something crazy like that. Like that's the ending. Like he gets infected with the evil. You know what I mean?
Interesting you bring that up. Well, because this movie had heavy rewrites. It was originally written by a guy named Andrew Kevin Walker, and they thought it was too dark, so they asked the screenwriter to lighten it up. And then Joel Schumacher was like, or the original screenwriter was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Like, it's going to be fine. And Joel Schumacher was like, yeah, no, we're going to lighten it up. I'll do some rewrites on it. And it pissed off the original screenwriter so much that he just completely walked away from it, refused to watch the movie, and they had a big falling out.
Oh,
so
wow.
What was the original movie like? I don't know. Probably didn't have a fucking happy ending.
I mean, if you can imagine what if you like married 7 and 8mm, like what this movie could have been.
Yeah.
Probably too much for me to watch, frankly, but it probably wouldn't have been boring. I'll give him that.
Ugh.
Man.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm so sorry that you didn't get the full effect of the reveal, because that, like, again, that was like the traumatic point of this. That's what I think about when I think of 8mm. That baby faced man whose face is impossibly baby faced, that I hadn't seen before. And honestly, if I had watched The Wire when it came out, I would have been re-traumatized. I was lucky enough to watch The Wire way later and see him again. But yeah, I don't know that you could pick a better face to be behind a Gimp mask for a reveal like that.
Yeah, it was really like, in the glasses too. The glasses really did it.
That's right. A little bit
Did
of
he have
skew.
the glasses on under the Gimp mask?
Yeah, how is he seeing a murder? What the fuck?
It's crazy. I don't know. He must be nearsighted or whatever it is. I wear glasses, but I don't know what it's called. So don't ask.
Let's do you want to do bingo, Chris? I feel like
Let's go to bingo. I need to make a bingo thing.
We need a little cheering up, guys. Let's see if we can get a bingo here. So basically the way that this works is we have these cumulatively added these on from our last 3 movies. I think there's a few things that we don't have yet. So seeing a therapist, not in this movie.
It should be, but it's not.
Yeah, really. Nobody was pregnant. The underwater scuba propeller, that's gonna be a hard one to get.
So specific.
It's very specific, but it has shown up in 2 movies already.
2.
Undercover Fancy Cage, which is when he wears a suit and talks in a fancy accent.
There was undercover.
He was undercover, but not fancy,
Right.
unfortunately. So,
but we do have a standoff. So there we go. We've got one to add to that.
hell yeah.
We had a gun and crossbow standoff. All right, we got remake, which would get us a bingo. So this one, there is a movie that it is similar to, a Spanish movie called Thesis, which is related to the movie World of Snuff Films. But I looked into this movie. It was from 1996, so it predated this movie. I don't think that it's a direct remake. I think it's just sort of like they were like, oh, let's do a American snuff film movie. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get credit for that one.
Yeah.
What is tattoo sighting?
So thank you for asking, Michael. So Nicolas Cage has a very ridiculous back tattoo that shows up in some of his movies.
Oh.
But we did see him shirtless, and the back tattoo was makeuped out.
Okay.
So it does show up.
That one is in a lot of movies, the tattoo. So that one,
especially earlier ones.
Yeah.
Cage is a villain. He's not the villain. There's no addiction stuff. Like there's no.
Well, Shion is
smoking, but
yeah, that's true.
But I get. But the thing is, I think we have a separate one for, like, I think Cage smokes in almost every movie.
I wouldn't say.
So that'd be an easy one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like if we do like Cage not smoking in a movie, that might be a better one.
That's gonna be on our next card.
Because if he doesn't smoke it, that's a bigger thing. Addiction, I think, is more if Nick Cage himself has an addiction in the movie.
Yeah, like Bad Lieutenant and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. He's not divorced in this movie, but she certainly threatens it.
Should be. Yeah. Sure.
He's not a cop. He's a PI, but he's not really a cop. And then this specific one, left alone in a hospital, waking up alone, has shown up in multiple movies, but not today.
No
guys,
bingo
I don't think
yet.
we have a bingo.
I'm just glad that one got on the board.
We're gonna get as close to bingo as humanly possible without getting. We're gonna get everything except for like.
Maybe next one we might get something. Next movie is Valley Girl, which probably will not have an underwater scuba propeller, but who knows?
Is he a villain? We'll find out. Actually,
I think it's a romantic comedy. I've never seen it.
If we get seeing a therapist, we get bingo. If we get left alone in a hospital, so if he sees a therapist, boom, bingo.
My guess is we're most likely to get it from Pregnant Girlfriend or remake.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the trivia section.
Alrighty.
Guys, I have some real good trivia for this movie. Just some real random shit. Guys, the original title of this movie was called Sexy World.
Ooh, baby, baby, it's a sexy world. No.
Nothing sexier than the underground world of pornography.
Sexy
My
World.
God.
Oh, I'm so glad they changed it.
Welcome to sexy world.
So bad. For a snuff film more? Oh, that's rude. I don't know what else to say. It's a rude title.
Nicolas Cage's Oscar is in the movie. The physical Oscar is wrapped up in black string and laces on Eddie Poole's desk. Eddie Poole being James Gandolfini's character.
What?
Oh, because he makes movies, he probably won some sort of like porn award, and they're using the Oscar
Nick Cage's
for
like,
it.
hey, what if I brought my Oscar in and put it on your desk or some crazy shit like that?
That's impressive. Okay.
We have a lot of people that were considered for Nick Cage's part in this movie. Can you make a guess as to who one of them was?
John Travolta.
John Travolta, who is every time there's a thing that's like these people turn down this role, it's always John Travolta, especially this era. But we have Bruce Willis, Val Kilmer, Charlie Sheen, Mel Gibson, Nick Nolte, and then
so many better options. Yeah.
Also, Russell Crowe actually was, I think, booked to be the star of this, and they were going to have it be like a more dirty, handheld, gritty thriller, is what it says. And then then Nick Cage was interested, and so they were like, "Oh, let's make this more of a big budget movie." So it could have been like a even grittier.
When did L.A. Confidential? This is before L.A. Confidential, right? Or no?
No idea.
I feel it. Well, either way, that would have been a better movie with him in it for sure. I think I want to see the Nick Nolte one more than the other ones.
Yeah, Nick Nolte, like a much like a cop that's like a PI that's like kind of out of shape and older, and like kind of like that would be interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
LA Confidential was 97, so this was after LA Confidential.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Another fact, there's an actor, his name is Don Creech. He played the dad of Norman Reedus. Do you remember we talked to the Norman Reedus's dad?
Yeah. He was like working on a car or something.
Yeah. This actor in real life is the keeper of the Muppets for the Jim Henson Company. He is the one who takes care of and repairs all the Muppets for Jim Henson.
Oh, that's so awesome.
That's on the IMDb trivia page.
Did he like audition for this, or was someone like, who's got to be in this role? That dude I saw with the Muppets the one time.
I think he's like a legit actor.
Okay.
He's been in a lot of stuff. He was in X-Men First Class, Leon the Professional, Benjamin Button, all sorts of stuff.
Oh,
wow!
But he also keeps Muppets.
He also just happens to keep Muppets.
I got a big house. I got a room for Muppets. There you go.
I'm the Muppet guy. Okay, and then our last fact is that James Gandolfini is killed by Nicolas Cage in this movie, as you guys know. In the movie True Romance, Patricia Arquette kills James Gandolfini. Patricia Arquette and Nicolas Cage were married, which makes James Gandolfini a rare person who has been killed by a real life married couple in the movies.
Wow. That's something else.
That's heartwarming. I love that.
Hey, do you think this guy who's the Muppet Keeper, like, if he brings like a lady home, he's like in bed and he's like, hey, look up, and there's like snuffleupagus hanging above the bed or some shit like that? He's like, I got snuffleupagus. Sorry.
Oh,
He was the keeper of the Muppets for 22 years.
Oh man, his house must have been so crazy.
Just didn't really get a Muppet vibe from him.
No.
I got a vibe of he's been working on that truck for 30 years. I didn't get any sort of whimsy from him at all.
He's like, you know what? I'll take the truck outside and work out in the street today. It's a nice day.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even in the garage. He was just working on it. Anyway. They couldn't afford the garage set or whatever, so they just had him on the side of the road.
Just do it on this alley. It'll be fine. Let's rank this movie, guys.
All right,
let's
do it.
The Cage.
All right.
I'm
All
guessing
right.
high rankings for this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we've got, I think this is our 14th movie.
14.
Just to give you guys a little thing, what we're working with, Mandy is still our number 1, followed by The Rock, and then our last 2 movies, our worst 2 movies are Jiu-Jitsu, and then whatever we watched last week, which I'm totally blanking on. Chris, what was that?
The
Family
Family
Man?
Man, yeah.
Oh, The Family Man, yeah. So
Blanking
we'll,
on-
we'll see. It's gonna end up somewhere around there, probably closer to the bottom.
I don't know. I'm voting on this too, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
So this
last
is-
week was a real depressing vote. We were all just like lining up on the numbers, and they were all real low. So
Oh, really?
we'll see how this one goes.
We so that we do this out of 10. Michael, you can start us off in just first category we've got is the cast. Like, how good is the cast for this movie?
I think unquestionably this cast is like good. Too good
Totally.
for what this movie is.
Absolutely.
I'd say an 8. I'd give him an 8.
I'm right there with you, man. I think it's a 7. I think you got Gandolfini, you got Catherine Keener, you got a lot of really good people in this movie. So
I'm gonna give it a 10. I thought it was like as good of a cast as there could be, totally misused.
Watch out,
Well,
Mandy. We're coming for you.
oh man, if this comes
Yes.
after Mandy, oh man. Meg is
So
gonna be
this-
the new who was it? Serpico of our Serpico just went
Serpico.
10 down the line.
All right, acting, and this is not Nick Cage's acting. This is everyone else's acting.
God, Peter Stormare, if I'm saying that right, and Joaquin Phoenix and Gandolfini, they just crushed it. There are some weird moments that I do think aren't the actor's fault, but they do bring down the score for me a little bit. So I'm gonna say, taking Nick Cage out, I'll be generous and say 7 instead of 6.
7. All right, I'm gonna give it a 5. I was not
Fair.
feeling much.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I thought everyone but Nick Cage was fairly good in this movie. I thought the woman who played the girl's mom was really good. She had a very emotional performance. All right, out of 10, how fun is this movie?
All right, I can't give it a 0 because
I mean, you can if you want.
I don't think it's fair, because for me 0 is like absolute 0. I'm always rounding up for this. And even like the small things that popped up here and there, like this is such a dumb moment, but when Joaquin Phoenix is like making change, he says, and that'll be $25 and some change. Like he didn't even his character just, I got the sense, just took a bunch of change out of the drawer. I was like, this is probably right. And for that, I will give it a 1.
For the moment of levity, 1.
Because it's not 0.
I will say that I was mostly just kind of like, when I watched this movie, but like I didn't like. I could go back and watch this again. I wouldn't want to, but I could make it through one more watching, I think. And for that, I will also give it a 1. Meg,
Oh, that face, Meg. This doesn't look good.
it's coming to 0.
I'm giving it a 2.
Whoa,
Whoa!
double the
because-
score.
The reason was because of the scene where the guy falls in the pool, and also because I did enjoy Joaquin Phoenix's character, and it wasn't as like there was no part in like I always, my least fun movie was Leaving Las Vegas. Like there's no part in this movie where I was just like, oh, I can't watch, or like, oh, that was really, really upsetting. It was just kind of all right.
Right.
Fine. All right. This is technical. So like costume sets, hair and makeup,
Yeah, it's hard for me
special
to.
effects.
It's hard with this one because it's not like a lot for me to kind of go on, I guess. Like, I mean, Chris picked up on the sound, which is fair. I didn't really pick up on that, but now that you mention it, yeah, I could see that. But I mean, they were, the violence was what it was. There wasn't as much shown. The sets, I thought that the sets looked realistic enough that that abandoned place where the woman was killed that just had graffiti all over the walls. I feel like I haven't been to those exact places, but it feels like analogous to some or parallel to some punk shows that I've maybe been to. I'll give it a 5 just because I don't really have anything negative or positive to say. It's just like down the middle.
I agree with you about the sets. I think that like the locations they chose were like very unique and very like crazy, but like they almost look like found places. Like they're not dressed up that way. Almost like they'd like come across them. Like those houses they were at that were just like kind of cluttered and crap everywhere, and like those kind of places look really cool. Like all the LA stuff was pretty cool. But yeah, like the sound was pretty bad, and so I mean they had to do a lot of simulated sex stuff. I'm gonna say 6.
I'm gonna say 4. I didn't think it wasn't bad, but nothing like stood out to me.
Right.
Overall, how do you rank this movie out of 10?
I've been trying to think of this for 20 years. How I rank this. It just gets it. I mean, you're seeing it as adults, so it's probably gonna be a different thing. Seeing this as like a 16-year-old, and just like it just screwed me up in terms of like. I guess if I saw this later in life and seen more like crazier movies and stuff at the time, like this would probably rank lower. But at the time, like I hadn't really seen anything that I thought was like, oh, you can do that in a movie? That's crazy. This was kind of up there for me at the time. So overall, I can't recommend it to people, but it definitely had an impact, emotional, psychological, whatever. So I'm going to say 3. Which is probably more than it deserves, but there you go.
3 out of 10.
What you got, Chris?
Oh, Shian's gonna do Rage, huh?
Oh yeah, we just booked another guest in the chat while this was happening. There was a request from Xian for the movie that was basically Taken, which turned out to be called Rage. I don't know if I've ever even heard of this one, although I'm sure it's on our list.
Straight to DVD, I think. VOD one, I think.
Anyway, Xian, I'll send you an email and we'll figure this out. You don't have to do that movie, but we'd love to have you as a guest because clearly you have lots of good thoughts. All right. Overall, Chris, what do you think out of 10?
3.
We're right there. We're right there for most of these.
I'm gonna hit a 1. I don't know what you guys.
I liked the crazy 90s view of the seedy underbelly, and I don't know, that was just kind of like stupid and fun. Like the nun with the dildo. Do you remember that scene? He's like they're watching a video in one of the underground places, and there's like a nun like that's gonna like use a dildo on a guy. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the nun.
Like,
I do remember the room where they go into the underground porn, and there's just one of the sections is just labeled kids.
Oh,
yeah.
Like we're just gonna just label it kids,
like as if it were like a comic book tray, and it was like X-Men, and then just kids. Oh,
there are some movies that are like a manipulative in terms of like tugging at your romantic heartstrings and stuff. This is like that part was manipulative in terms of like just being like, this is gross. This movie's gross. I hate it. Like they didn't need to put that there, but they did, and they knew exactly what they were doing.
That part was fucked up.
I thought it was over the top. All right, what do you got? All right, so sorry, next section. I should introduce it. This is where we can add or subtract a single bonus point. In the past, we have allowed multiple bonus points for people who make very strong cases for it, but in general, a single bonus point for something that you liked or disliked about this movie. For example, you could subtract a bonus point for a bad hairpiece, which fortunately this movie did not have. The hairpieces were fine.
They were fine.
They're fine. So, whoever has one first can go for it.
So Peter, my favorite actor, Peter Stormare, had so many like fun choices. There was a part where he's like, what he has like is a photograph? He has something in his, it's a photograph of Nick Cage's family. Yeah. And there's no way that he was told to do that, but he just, he's like, I need to do something. I need to make a choice. Like chews it up and then like, doesn't even spit it out. He just allows it to fall out of his mouth. Cause he's like decided that his character was always in a drug haze or something. So I give an extra point for that. Anytime that dude makes a choice, it's the best.
Are we gonna have to do a Peter Stormare side podcast, Chris?
What would we call it?
Stormare weather.
Stormare the castle.
Stormare the castle. That's good too.
I was just thinking of something, and I don't know if I should give a bonus point for this, but you and I were talking about the first half of the movie being on the East Coast, everything being very gray.
Yes.
Do you remember when they get to the West Coast, there's more color? What if that was like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing? Similar to Wild at Heart. Anyway, I'm going to give a bonus point for Norman Reedus.
Okay.
Young Norman Reedus.
Young Reedus.
I'm
gonna take away
Reedus Digest. Reedus Digest. That would be his podcast.
Oh yeah, that's the Norman Reedus
Good.
series. Reedus Digest.
That is very good. I like that a lot.
I'm taking off a bonus point because what they did to poor Catherine Keener, just that ridiculous part they gave her with
she
no
got
depth.
fucked in this movie.
I feel like, honestly, I don't even know what she could do in a movie like this. I think it would just been better for her and for her career if they just didn't put her in this movie at all.
Yeah. No good.
Hopefully she got a good paycheck for it. She got some exposure before being John Malkovich, but man, brutal. What do we think? Let's see where it ends up, Chris.
All right.
Take us.
Boy, I'm so nervous.
We are
Yeah!
10.
Yes.
It beat out
Okay.
National Treasure.
Take
So
that, National
for
Treasure.
those listening in, it is now ranked number 10 out of 14 movies. It has beaten National Treasure, The Wicker Man, The Family Man, and Jiu-Jitsu.
It is.
Although there are only 14 movies, this is technically top 10 Nicolas Cage movie.
It is.
as
For
of right
now.
Yes.
It is right after Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah. It'll
This
be
is,
very-
this is a huge thing to Meg putting down that 10 for the cast. I'm sure that tipped it over the edge.
I mean, those are probably pretty clustered together. That
Yeah.
point.
We'll periodically do a check to see like how close these are actually to each other, and also check to see how much the guest influence things. I don't think this is, if I was doing this in a vacuum, I don't think I would rank this that high.
What's weird though is we were all pretty close on a lot of our rankings, but I do agree that this seems higher than I thought for the movies that are on the board.
So I gave it a 10 for the cast. Is that what I did?
You gave it a
Yeah.
10.
Oh,
Can you go back, Chris, and change it to like, I'm just curious if that makes a difference. Change it to like a 6 for the cast.
It's gonna make a huge difference.
You think so?
Yeah. No.
Nope. Exactly.
Oh,
No difference at all. All right.
All right, the 10 stands.
Wow. All right. That's interesting that it made no difference at all. What really threw me was National Treasure ending up this far down. But that was a fun show, and I think we really picked that one apart. It's like a 2-hour show.
Yeah,
So I think
we went a little long on that
one. We went deep on that one. All right, so it's time for the Cage Gauge, which is a 2-axis plot of Cage's acting ability versus Cage's craziness. And when I say Cage's craziness, I mean his patented Nick Cage yelling random shit, getting crazy. You know how he is. So out of 10 is another out of 10. How would you gauge the Cage's craziness in this film?
it's not really crazy. It's not even muted crazy, which would have been better. He has a little bit of freakouts at the end, so I can't give it a 0. But out of 10, I'd probably say 1.
I totally agree, and I'm just giving that 1 point for the freakouts at the end, just like you. Meg?
Keep it simple. Same thing.
1s across the board. And acting, same thing, but this is just specifically Nick Cage's acting ability.
God, I think I really wanted to like it, his acting ability. I can't think of a moment that I bought from him at all. Except for maybe when he was asking the mother if she'd want to know, like before he went off to do the investigation. So I'll still do a 1. I'll do a 1. And that might be a generous 1, but there you go.
There was that moment where he was I just want to understand, like that part I thought was the one, like where he has a freak out. I thought it was like the most acting you see him doing, the whole, like the most emotion you see him showing the whole movie. So I'm also with you on this. I'm gonna give it a 1.
I am right there. 1, 2.
Ooh.
This was just a real clunker.
We are braving some new territory on the cage gauge. We are down in this less
Look at
crazy
that.
bad acting quadrant. I don't think we've ever been this far down. Yeah, we really haven't.
Yeah.
This is the
Nice.
same neighborhood as National Treasure, but it is the lowest acting, lowest crazy cage movie we have. This is Family Man right here. This is Gone in 60 Seconds. Those are the neighbors in this quadrant. If you look into the good acting, less crazy, you've got Raising Arizona, and oddly enough, Jiu-Jitsu, which
Oh, okay.
How did that happen?
things happen when you when you have no real science behind what you're doing. Just, shit happens. So I don't know what this tells us, but this is it.
I don't know
right.
what it tells us.
Who knows what's to be learned from this? But we have gauged the cage.
So
Let's,
Mandy is good acting, more crazy.
Yes,
right? That
Mandy
one's
is
up
in
there?
that. Hold on, I'll go back. Oh no!
Sorry.
Every time I go back, it plays design flaw in my my
I'm
shit
so
here.
sorry. I didn't mean to.
But yeah, Mandy is in that. See, that's the red face right there. That's the Mandy.
Yeah.
You got Mandy. You got Face Off. You got Leaving Las Vegas.
So there's all three of those are sort of front runners, but on different ends of whether you like acting or craziness,
Right.
basically.
The Vampire's
Yeah.
Kiss is up here because it is, extremely. Wait, that's not.
No, that's not Vampire's Kiss.
Sorry, that's
Vampire's
Leaving-
Kiss is way to the right.
Yeah,
All
Vampire's
crazy,
Kiss
right?
is right there. More crazy bad acting. I have to put some kind of alternate text on these so I can see what the names are.
You like memorized all the faces.
Yeah, this is The Rock.
Right down the middle
Yep.
for the Rock.
So, then this is Wicker Man right there. More crazy.
I'm
bad
surprised that didn't get a better score. I remember enjoying that
acting.
that movie.
Yeah.
It's so tedious. It's just like there's all the crazy parts, and then there's also just a lot of running around, like having
Yeah.
really slow, awkward conversations with people.
I think that
That's
the thing
fair.
to be learned, though, I've been learning from these, for a lot of these movies, there's a cut in there that's very good. Like Wicker
Mm.
Man, there is a tight 30-minute Wicker Man cut that's fucking awesome. Jiu-Jitsu, same
Mhm.
deal. Like, you can make a 25-minute Jiu-Jitsu cut that would just blow your mind. But, they stretch it out for 2 hours, and you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
Right.
Chris gets so mad whenever we start a movie and it's 2 hours long. It's like 2 hours. For me, 2 hours seems like a normal length for a movie.
I said we
I
should.
mean, when you see movies like this, you have to agree with Chris that
Yeah, that's
when you
fair.
see a slog like this, yeah, it's fair.
Like, I mean, you could have really cut to, like, you could have cut maybe 15, 20 minutes out of the beginning and cut, like, really quick to LA, like, in the first. Like,
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
that was when the real story started happening.
I feel like if you cut a big chunk out of the beginning and kind of like be more blatant about like maybe Nick Cage should be a character that's like overly good or somehow more incorruptible in the beginning, so his downfall is like more pronounced, so you give a shit that he's making this journey. But you don't get that. You just get that he doesn't smoke.
I thought what they were hinting at with this whole thing was that Brendan had a hot take that the ideal film length is 78 minutes to 3 hours long.
To 3
It's either
hours.
78 minutes or 3 hours.
Or 3 hours long. I thought the whole movie they were like kind of hinting at that he was going to be corrupted. And like at the end of this movie, he was going to be the one making porn, or he's going to get really into,
Right.
like Joaquin Phoenix kept saying that to him, but no.
No, that's probably the other version that we'll never get to see.
We'll never
Nor
get
do
to
I
see.
want to, but it's probably the original.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to not thinking about this movie ever again after this.
Put it in the vault or lock it back in the cage.
In the cage.
Lock it back in the cage of things I can forget.
I just
Oh,
love
that
it.
should be
Sound
a
effect for that,
question
Chris.
for you. That should be your last bit on these shows. Like, do you want to unlock this cage or do you want to lock this cage?
Ooh,
This
I
one,
like that.
lock this cage. This cage
Lock-
should not be let out.
Oh,
Yeah, Chris, you should have a sound effect for that when the little reaction thing comes up,
like wah, 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 wah. I don't know what would it be like.
depending on what it is that he's doing.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a quick. I think we have time for a little quick Nick Cage fact. Chris, if you want to boop us over there. We didn't do one last week, so we like to learn a little bit about Nick Cage as a person, although this is more of an actory one. So kind of on the theme of different parts that could have gone different ways, I have a few little examples of movies that Nick Cage auditioned for but didn't get. So if you've seen any of these, he could have been the guy from The Breakfast Club. I think the like John Bender. I guess is that the
Judd Nelson character?
Yeah,
probably, yeah.
With the big jacket and like
Yeah.
the badass.
I could see that.
That makes sense. That I would buy that.
I don't think I would think he was cool enough for that.
That's
You know what
fair.
I mean? I could see him dressing up, but I wouldn't be like, man, when I grew up, I want to be as cool as that guy. But no.
Yeah, rarely is Nick Cage cool in a movie. That's an interesting thing to think about. Similarly, another cool character that he did not get was Tony Stark. He could have been Tony Stark.
Is he almost every superhero? Is that like his deal?
He's really into superheroes, but he has not played that many superheroes. He had a Superman movie that almost got made but didn't.
He played
Ghost
Spider-Man.
Rider.
Ghost Rider, yeah.
Played
Oh, and Kick-Ass.
And he was Spider-Man in Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm.
All right, another one is Willy Wonka. That would have been a real weird Willy Wonka. I'm assuming that's the
Tim Burton one.
I mean, obviously that's the
Oh, God.
version,
But wait, no,
not the,
could that have
Gene
been
Wilder.
the Gene Wilder version?
Nah, he would have been
No.
like 10 years old. That would have been a different movie.
a real weird movie. And also Tom Cruise's character in Risky Business, which I've never seen, so I don't have any comment on that.
Yeah, same. I know he goes across the floor in socks and underwear. That's about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's our Nick Cage fact from the day. And then that's pretty much our show. Michael, do you have anything that you want to promote to our vast audience of Nick Cage fans?
We just binge watched the first 5 episodes of Ted Lasso, which is the exact opposite of 8mm. So if you want to not have this taste in your mouth, just watch it. If you have Apple Plus, watch Ted Lasso. It's as good as everyone says.
It stars what's his name? Jason Sudeikis?
Yes, it's so good. For personal projects, I'm in QAW. I think I'm in a video this week. But QAW is just a great time on the 2MB studios here on Twitch. Check it out. A weekly fake wrestling show as opposed to all the real wrestling shows out there. But it's at 8:00 on Thursdays. I should know this. I'm in
8:00 Eastern, I think.
Yeah, 8:00, and our very own Chris is in it. Yeah, just great stuff. You can see what happens when comedy people aren't allowed to go to theaters and what they do with their time.
I haven't watched that many of it. I've really just sort of tuned in for Chris's parts, but the parts I've seen where your character is in it I love it.
She loves Don't Touch Our Nuts.
Don't touch our. It's like a bunch of squirrels stacked up on top of each other, right?
I called it a mech suit, but then someone corrected me that it's a Gundam, or I don't know what the term is. I don't watch anime, but it's like a mechanical suit that they all wear.
They're a bunch of squirrels controlling a wrestler.
Here's my canonical question to you. So these squirrels, do they each control a robot that together forms the Scarecrow robot, much like Voltron?
Ooh.
Or is it, you know what I mean, is it all one robot and they each are just inside of it?
It hasn't been said in the show. So it could be, I do like them all controlling a separate robot.
Like Power Ranger style?
Right.
Yeah. As is, if you hadn't said that, it would have been they all control like a different limb or the brain. Like there are 5 of them, so they can be in all 4 limbs in the head. But now I'm thinking, yeah, they probably are part of different. Yeah, thank you, Chris. This is a good writing session.
Oh, you could cut like some really obscure season of Power Rangers that no one watched and just put it in there.
Oh man, that is 100% happening now.
So Quarantine Action Wrestling, 8 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/2MB Studios. If you want to see Michael's squirrels beat up other fake wrestlers.
Yeah.
And then then our next show is on January 10th. We have our musician friend Molly Walburn. She's super funny and really looking forward to this discussion. We're watching the movie Valley Girl, a very early romantic comedy, Cage. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
And
Nice
for
change of
those of
pace.
you who have been watching Virtual Improv, which is our Friday show, Fridays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. We are back after 2 weeks off this week.
Back live, season 2,
Back
new
live.
overlay, all kinds of new stuff. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. And that's it. That's our show. See you guys all next week.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Michael. Thank you for being our guest.